sights are set upon the land we love. And vibes are the cue for me. Fight, fight, fight. I'll guard the planet like a shield for a night. So no, I won't stop fighting till it's over. Won't run away. And you can bet that Earth will keep on turning. I'm making sure it's safe. Join in the face of my fists are sturdy in their faith. They'll never shake. Ain't nobody stopping their burn. Show what we're made of. I'll change the future with my nerves to one that we deserve for the world. Hakai.
Episode 35, Killing Machines, Part 4. After the Campari fortress explodes, Cell Ultra reveals himself in the smoke, carrying Android 21 by the neck. Looking down at everyone present on the battlefield, he says that the time has come for all of them to feel true despair. Despite his body being very injured due to the many blows he suffered from Vegito, Campari is filled with joy when he sees the android that has just appeared. Amid laughter, he mocked his enemies, saying that despite all their efforts, in the end his plans ended up coming true. Vegito can only think about his daughter, Bola, who was inside the fortress. And what Vegito doesn't know is that inside Android 21 is Bulma, his wife, who was absorbed by the android so that her intelligence could be used to finish the Cell Ultra project faster. Gogeta, on the other hand, can tell that Bulma is inside Android 21. When he looks at her, he notices this thanks to Shinken's extremely accurate senses. What the hell is going on here? He wonders. Gogeta already knew Cell thanks to the experiences Goku and Vegeta had with him. But Vegito apparently didn't know Cell, which means that in this dimension, Goku and Vegeta never faced Cell. Vegito begins to release his ki with incredible intensity, emanating his power of destruction with terrifying power. His anger is all directed at Cell as he asks how this bastard dares to kill his daughter. Even with Vegito showing terrifying power, Cell looks at him with a disdainful smile and says that someone like him doesn't care about trash. Vegito can't contain his fury. He projects himself towards Cell in an explosion of power, reaching extraordinary speed and preparing an extremely powerful punch. Wait, Vegito! Gogeta screams when he realizes something. As if Android 21 were a piece of trash, Cell throws her away and prepares to receive Vegito's attack head-on. Vegito's punch, carrying titanic power, hits Cell's forearm, generating a gigantic explosion of energy. Gogeta quickly teleports to Android 21 and grabs her to protect himself and the android with an energy shield. After the explosion, Vegito, who was previously completely blinded by his anger and not considering any consequences, now shows an expression of surprise when he sees that his punch was perfectly blocked by Cell without even generating any sign of effort on his face. Intending to provoke Vegito, Cell says that his blow wasn't bad, but that he will need much more than that. Although surprised by the enemy's strength, Vegito does not shy away. He moves away and begins to concentrate even more power, ready to continue the fight. Before Vegito makes any other move, Gogeta comes to his side carrying Android 21 on his lap, and he says that inside this woman's body are Bulma and Bola. This information positively surprises Vegito, who now paying attention to the android, actually notices Bulma and Bola's ki in her. Why are they inside this android? Vegito asks. Campari heads to Cell's side and then answers Vegito's question. I have a lot to thank that woman called Bulma, because it was thanks to her that Android 21 had enough intelligence to finish Cell Ultra. And not only was she able to finish Cell much faster, she also finished him even more powerful than I imagined. But after saying these things, Campari becomes thoughtful and admits, about that Saiyan girl inside 21, I frankly don't know why, since her only use would be to give your genes to Cell Ultra, so there was no reason to save her. When Campari raises this question about Bola, Cell says that at the moment he was finished, the accumulation of energy was so great that an explosion was inevitable. But for some reason the android didn't want to allow Bola to die, so instead of her running away, she simply absorbed the girl to keep her protected inside her body. This makes Campari curious, but Gogeta already understands everything and says that Bulma's consciousness inside the android certainly made her save Bola. He explains it better. "I've never seen this woman in my life that you call Android 21, but she seems to have similar genes to Majin Buu, and from what I know about Majin Buu's absorption technique, he also ends up acquiring part of consciousness and feeling from whom he absorbed. In other words, when she absorbed Bulma, this android ended up not only inheriting her intelligence, but some of her feelings as well." Gogeta says that he is a little curious to know more about this unknown woman, and also how an android that has Majin Buu's genes came to be. However, that can be left for later, since at this moment, they have more important things to focus on. For now, the only thing that matters is that Bola and Bulma are safe, and also the enemies in front of us, he completes. Gogeta makes Android 21 disappear from his arms with a teleport, sending her to another dimension. Then he does the same for Gohan, pointing his hand in the direction of the area where he had fallen, defeated after the fight against Campari, and using distance teleportation to get him out of there. Vegito is very relieved to know that his daughter and wife are safe, but one thing still intrigues him a lot. "The only thing that sticks in my head is the part where the angel talks about Bola giving my genes to this guy," he says. Looking closely at Cell, Gogeta realizes that many different genes make up his structure, and it seems that among the many genetic data present in this android, Vegito's are included. "It appears that the purpose of your daughter's kidnapping was to give this android your genetics," Gogeta says. This angers Vegito, who says that Campari will pay for this. Campari magically summons his staff, and using its magic, completely heals himself from all the injuries that Vegito had caused to his body. After doing this, the angel says that now Cell Ultra is ready. They can no longer stop his plans, since Cell's power surpasses even that of the angel. Looking closely at the android, Gogeta realizes that he also has angel gene. "Did you give him your genes too? What is the point of this?" Gogeta asks, surprised. The angel says that he doesn't need to tell them his plans, since they won't even live to see it. From one moment to the next, Cell attack. The first target is Vegito, who receives both of the android's feet in the middle of his chest, and he is pushed very far away. Next up is Gogeta, who is attacked with an ultra-powerful punch, which he blocks with both arms, but is charged with Cell's hands, pressing his arms against his chest. With Gogeta's arms pressed against his chest, Cell sees his upper body vulnerable, and he takes this chance to deliver a slashing blow to chop Gogeta's head off, but is completely surprised when Gogeta shrinks his head into the body as if he were a turtle. And Cell's astonishment is even greater when Gogeta makes his head appear from inside his own chest to shoot a wave of energy from his mouth that hits the android directly in the middle of the chest. But the person who is also impressed is Gogeta, when Cell opens a hole in his own body to let the energy wave fired by him pass straight through. At the same time that Cell's body returns to normal, Gogeta's head also returns to its place. "The way you distorted your body, that's Majin Buu's ability, isn't it?" Gogeta asks. "Yes. Android 21's genes is also present in my body." Cell Ultra responds and then asks, "But what about you?" "I have Saiyan genes in my body, and as far as I know, Saiyans are not capable of doing what you just did." Gogeta explains, "Normally Saiyans don't do this. However, I am an exception. I possess a special knowledge called Shinken, which gives me such enhanced control over my own ki that I am able to do almost anything with my body and energy." When Cell hears this, he becomes very curious and says that Gogeta seems to be a very interesting opponent. Taken by this excitement, Cell says he wants to see how far this special knowledge called Shinken goes. As he concentrates his energy, Cell catches Gogeta's attention when he begins to reflect a bluish glow on his body, which soon after manifests itself in the form of a powerful aura of blue energy, which Gogeta immediately recognizes as being Super Saiyan Blue. "Can you use divine transformations? Incredible!" he exclaims, excited. Seized by great fury, Vegito returns to Cell, flying at full speed and ready to land a direct blow on him. But Gogeta stops him by getting in his way. When Gogeta does this, Vegito gets very angry and asks him what he is doing. Gogeta says that he will fight Cell and that Vegito should focus on Campari and avenge the kidnapping of his wife and daughter. Even though he's a little reluctant, Vegito ends up agreeing. When Vegito starts flying towards Campari, Cell tries to stop him by teleporting in front of him and throwing a punch at the Saiyan. However, Gogeta also makes a teleportation, going in front of Cell to hold his punch and then taking them both away with the teleportation. With that, Vegito heads towards the angel with a very strong punch, but which Campari defends by interjecting with his forearm. Get ready, Angel, because I'm going to make you suffer a lot for what you did to Bola and Bulma, the Saiyan threatens. That's what we're going to see, the Angel responds. After Campari blocked his punch, Vegito starts pressing his fist against the Angel's forearm, who, despite being trembling, maintains his defense. Vegito and Campari push against each other, in the process releasing energy from their bodies that spreads throughout the environment, making that dimension shake. The Saiyan's energy taken by the power of destruction is purple in color. The Angel's energy is white. The pressure exerted by the two reaches a peak, which causes an explosion of impact that pushes both away. But soon after they return, finding themselves in an exchange of frenetic blows. Vegito's fists full of fury explode against Campari's body, who, as best he can, uses the technical smoothness of Ultra Instinct to parry the enemy's blow. But Vegito's hatred is too intense for Campari to maintain the frank exchange of attacks, so he retreats in a flash and then fires a wave of power against the enemy, who was already chasing him. Vegito is also quick to respond with a wave of power, causing white and purple energy to meet and self-destruct in an explosion of cosmic scales, which causes the walls of that dimension to rupture. Campari takes advantage of the luminous spectacle generated by the explosion to move quickly to Vegito's back and hit him in the back of the head with a precise and very strong blow. Vegito is stunned by this attack, but he still manages to quickly turn around to land a direct kick to Campari's abdomen, who has the air knocked out by the force of that blow. Vegito then tries to take advantage of this opportunity to hit Campari in the face with another kick, but he misses the attack and is then counterattacked when the Angel avoids his foot and hits him with a kick straight to the neck. Choking, he retreats only to be hit in the chest by an advancing punch from the Angel, but Vegito receives his blow with resilience and retaliates with a punch to the jaw that launches Campari into the air, to then explode a globe of energy launched against the Angel's body. Campari spins through the air due to the force of the explosion, while Vegito advances towards him, preparing another attack, and saying that the more blows he receives, the stronger his body will become. However, before the Saiyan launches the next attack, the Angel summons his staff, and using magic, tears the fabric of space-time in front of him in such a way that Vegito's punch enters that temporal rift instead of hitting him. Campari takes advantage of this distraction and then moves towards Vegito and hits him with a very strong kick. Don't forget, you ignorant Saiyan, an Angel has not only raw power, but also magic, he says. After Gogeta teleports him and Cell to another dimension, they waste no time and start fighting at an intense pace, each trying powerful blows against each other. Cell says that it was useless for Gogeta to take him away from Campari, as he could return there in an instant, since he also has teleportation. However, Gogeta disagrees and says that Cell's teleportation must be as effective as Vegito's instant transmission. If this is the case, Cell has a problem, as Vegito's teleportation is inferior to his, as he has this technique enhanced to the extreme by Shinken, while Vegito does not. If you doubt me, try, he challenges the android. Cell accepts the challenge, moving away from Gogeta and starting to concentrate to feel Vegito's ki and teleport to where he is. At that moment, he realizes that Gogeta is right. In fact, I'm not able to feel his ki. You brought me to a really distant dimension, didn't you? You are a cunning fox, I must admit that. However, Cell tells Gogeta that because of the Saiyan genes in his body, and also from other species, he's able to evolve very quickly. This means that perhaps he will soon be able to increase his powers and improve his teleportation. Gogeta says that he knows this very well, since in his dimension, Goku and Vegeta faced Cell and witnessed this android's incredible evolutionary capacity. That's why I took you away from the Angel, because you're a separate problem, Gogeta explains. Cell smiles and says that Gogeta is digging his own grave. Super Saiyan Blue's bright blue aura surrounds the android's body as he advances without hesitation. Gogeta stands still to receive the enemy's blow, a powerful knee that he defends with his own knee, letting a vibrational wave accompanied by large electrical blasts spread around them. Gogeta loses this dispute, being pressured by Cell's strength and pushed by the synthetic warrior, who in the form of flashes of blue energy forces him to retreat as he executes attacks at a speed that exceeds the speed of light thousands of times. Cell's energy is impressive, and with each blow of his that Gogeta needs to defend, he feels the impact of the attacks invade his body, hitting muscles, bones, and internal organs. The android's energy is so dense that it takes over the entire environment, making Gogeta feel very oppressed towards him. But the pressure is only truly felt when Cell's punch hits directly in the middle of Gogeta's chest, who feels his lungs and heart being crushed by the android's fist. The pressure from the punch is so powerful that the energy from the impact passes through Gogeta's body and creates an explosion of air behind him. Blood pours out of his mouth. Gogeta really felt the power of that blow. The reaction, however, is quick, with the Saiyan now releasing his Shinken power, which, when released, shocks Cell to the point of making the android move away in fright. This power, for some reason I don't understand it, but I feel a great danger coming from it, Cell reveals. However, after thinking better, he says, actually, the memories present in Vegito's genes communicate something to me about this power. That's the Shinken transformation, right? It's definitely amazing. Even though he already knew what it was about, Cell was not intimidated, releasing the blue energy even more intensely. But this time with something more that impressed Gogeta. Simultaneously with the blue energy, a golden glow shines. I know that. It's Frieza's power. Gogeta recognizes it. Pointing his staff high, Campari forms a vortex of light, which, while rotating above Vegito like a gear wheel, rains down thousands of energy shots on him. With a rain of energy in the form of light falling on him, Vegito promptly responds with a final flash, soaked in the energy of destruction. The single gigantic shot of purple energy swallows the sequential shots of white energy, but Campari is incisive, this time attacking by firing several light lasers from his staff that approach Vegito, snaking through the air in a way that surrounds him. With shots coming from all sides, Vegito simply spreads his power of destruction throughout the surroundings in the form of an explosion, also getting rid of these attacks. Campari's next attempt is more successful. This time he forms a magical chain with his staff, which, when thrown against Vegito, ensnares him. Once the Saiyan is trapped in his bond, Campari creates a huge globe of pure power with his energy and launches it at him. Vegito exerts colossal strength to free himself from the magical bond, reaching the point of breaking it, but not fast enough to avoid the globe of energy, which hits him, culminating in an explosion on a cosmic scale, powerful enough to distort all laws of the dimension, creating countless fissures in the walls of reality and generating a gigantic black hole that exudes tremendous force. After that explosion, an apocalyptic scenario takes over that particular dimension of Campari, which, even though it is much more resistant than a common dimension, is not withstanding the full power of that battle. Vegito, on the other hand, despite having received that explosion in full, manages to exit the black hole and only suffer medium severity injuries. Not bad, but it's going to take more than that to kill me, he says. Campari feels frustrated. He really put a lot of power into that attack. However, the angel responds by saying that he still has a lot of power to use. Gogeta's expression changes, now marked by surprise at the revelation of the influence of Frieza's power on Cell's improved technique. The golden aura mixed with that blue energy created a formidable combination, further increasing the pressure on the battlefield. Cell, with an arrogant smile, advances towards Gogeta again, revealing incredible speed that defies comprehension. He launches a series of quick and precise attacks, combining punches, kicks, and blasts of golden blue energy, keeping Gogeta under constant pressure. Blue energy causes a feeling of balance and ferocity at the same time, combining the essence of the Saiyan's divine power and battle spirit. At the same time, the golden energy emanates an intimidating aura, as if it were a manifestation of Frieza's evil essence. As the asteroid's tireless attacks are launched against Gogeta, Cell's voice echoes across the battlefield. The fusion of different life forms has granted me not only the strength of the Saiyans, but also the cunning of Frieza and much more. You face an opponent who transcends the barriers of a single race, Gogeta. However, Gogeta's response is sharp, finding an opening in Cell's attacks to land an overwhelming punch, energized by Shinken power. A blow that surprises Cell as it shatters the android's chest and arm. Cell steps back, a little scared. The Shinken aura takes over Gogeta's body. As he says that, in fact, Cell has overcome the barriers of a single race. However, he also did this, reaching a higher level with his Shinken, using the ability of Majin Buu or any other race with regenerative powers whose genes are present in him. Cell restores the part of his body that was just destroyed, and even though he received this very strong blow that was capable of destroying part of his body, he advances again against the enemy without showing any fear. As the two exchange intense and powerful blows again, Gogeta notices that Cell's body has already strengthened, indicating the android's incredible capacity for evolution and learning. As their blows generate intense reverberations throughout that dimension, reality begins to change around them, creating things like random color scales, reversal of directions, and distortion of shape. At a moment when one's fist and another's elbow collide, an explosion of impact transports them simultaneously to another dimension, with a sequence of punches so fast that they appear in trails of light. Gogeta shatters almost Cell's entire body, leaving only his head intact. Gogeta fires an energy blast to destroy Cell's head and put an end to him, but the android is quick to teleport his head away from the attack and get the fraction of a second needed to regenerate his entire body. After regeneration, Cell advances at an even greater speed, even surpassing Gogeta a little, who, to avoid an enemy's punch directly in his face, creates an energy barrier to stop the blow. Cell moves away, concentrates a high amount of golden energy in one hand, a high amount of blue energy in the other, fires both intertwined in an energy torrent that contains enormous power. When Cell's attack collides with Gogeta's barrier, it creates an explosion so huge that their energy occupies that entire dimension and completely destroys it, taking them both to another alternative place. After being transported to this other dimension, Gogeta looks for his enemy until he sees Cell approaching at an extremely high speed in the form of blue and gold reflection. Gogeta welcomes the approaching enemy with a powerful kick, which Cell responds to by turning his body in a tornado of light and also finishing with a kick. Their legs cross in an explosion of blue, yellow, and white energy as another dimensional wall breaks with a single shot. After this collision, they move away from each other. Gogeta shows some surprise in his expression. Cell, on the other hand, shows an unshakable, confident expression. "You are truly powerful, Gogeta, but there is something you still don't understand. Evolution is inherent in me. With the genetics of Saiyans and Frieza, I can overcome any adversity and evolve with extraordinary speed." With these words, Cell unleashes an even more impressive blast of energy, causing the golden and blue aura to intensify. But now the golden aura gives way to dense black energy. Is that Frieza's black form? Gogeta wonders, impressed that Cell can already use this power. The black and blue energy begins to mix into a powerful whirlwind, revealing a frightening power on Cell's part. Gogeta, aware of the gravity of the situation, concentrated on increasing his own power even further. Campari's private dimension is in ruins, filled with fissures in the walls of reality, with the presence of a gigantic black hole exuding tremendous force. As if these catastrophes weren't bad enough, Vegito and Campari continue to cause more absurd events thanks to the supernatural scale combat they wage. In a frantic moment, they travel through the entire dimension at such a speed that it appears to be the garden of a simple house, going round and round in the gigantic reality as if the distance of billions of light years were nothing. As they exchange attack, Campari's disadvantage becomes more and more evident. Using the incredible technical mastery of Ultra Instinct, he manages to escape many of Vegito's attacks and carry out precise and forceful counterattacks. But the problem is that Vegito, girded by the power of destruction and dominated by the warrior fury of the Saiyan race, manages to strengthen more and more, with his warrior spirit and his thirst for destruction being the only fuels needed for him to evolve more and more in battle. To try to compensate for the inferiority in the physical and energy confrontation, Campari tries to resort to magical abilities using his staff, but even this is not being as effective, as Vegito is increasingly adapting to the angel's magical techniques. Campari doesn't deal well with the disadvantage, and it starts to affect his psychology. How is this possible? The angel asks in a loud voice. You are not even using the power of Ultra Instinct. Therefore, it is incomplete. But even so, you still manage to overcome my power. How is this possible? Finally reaching the angel with a punch of overwhelming power that buries his hand in his stomach, Vegito responds, the answer is simple. I am far superior to you. After that response, Campari just goes crazy. You disgraced worm. How dare you? The angel, summoning his staff again, unexpectedly uses it to strike Vegito. Surprised by this, Vegito begins to receive blows from the angel's staff, who uses this magical and sacred object as a stick. While beating the Saiyan who dared to offend him, Campari screams hysterically in a mixture of hatred and despair. However, Vegito manages to react, countering one of Campari's movements by kicking the staff and throwing it away, then grabbing the angel by the hair and pulling him towards him, landing a punch right in the middle of Campari's face, whose beautiful angelic face is crushed by the Saiyan's fist. Vegito doesn't stop with the first punch, still holding the opponent by the hair with one hand. With the other, he punches in sequence, landing extremely strong punches straight to Campari's face, who is stunned to the point of not even being able to react. At the same time as he deforms his enemy's face with his furious fist, Vegito tells Campari that it doesn't matter if he's an angel. No one messes with his family and goes unpunished. Satisfied with punches to the face, Vegito now accumulates a portion of energy in his hand, only to then hit Campari in the face with his energy, causing a small explosion and sending the angel away. Campari goes to the ground. He now has a very different physiognomy, with his once smooth skin now showing crack from which blood oozes in abundance. His once perfect face now completely deformed, his once arrogant expression now showing great pain and suffering. Staggering, Campari manages to get up. I need to heal myself again, immediately, he thinks as he extends his hands to summon his staff again. But there's no time, because as soon as the staff reaches his hand, Vegito simultaneously arrives with a devastating blow in a low flight, shattering the angel's chest, crossing his arm with one hand. The pain is so great that Campari drops the staff that just arrived in his hand, with his chest and mouth squirting his divine blood. When Vegito removes his arm in an abrupt jerk, the angel falls to his knees. The combination of pain, shock, and shortness of breath prevents him from even being able to speak. Campari remains with his eyes wide and rolled back, a look of someone who is already on the verge of death. Vegito points one of his hands at him and says, "It's good that with this, you, angels, learn not to mess with my family anymore." With a concentrated Hakai, Vegito definitively eliminates Campari from existence, making the powerful and proud angel less than dirt. After the battle is won, he sighs with relief and also satisfaction. When he looks at the sky, feeling a power so colossal that it reaches him even though he is in dimensions away. As Gogeta, Shinken, and Black Cell Super Saiyan Blue battle unfolds, the battlefield has become a storm of power, with energies colliding in a spectacle of light and shadow. The combat continued, with each blow shaping the imminent outcome of a fight that challenged the limits of power and evolution. Cell continued to develop, achieving perfect harmony between the Saiyan divine power and the power that comes from Frieza. And in addition to these powers, Gogeta could also feel different types of ki in him, which came from a gigantic mixture of races whose genes were inserted into him. This cell was very different from the two types of cell that were created on the Earth in Gogeta's dimension. This cell had a much greater genetic wealth, indicating that Campari collected genes from multiple realities, making a detailed genetic crossing with the intention of creating a perfect warrior. To make matters worse, this cell's genetic data was collected in realities where beings are much more powerful than in the reality from which Gogeta comes. The power of the Frieza that Cell uses, for example, is infinitely superior to the power of the Frieza from Gogeta's dimension. In other words, Gogeta now has the ultimate android as his opponent. Cell becomes more powerful every moment, managing to adapt very well to Gogeta's combat style and power. On the other hand, Gogeta also increases his power more and more as his opponent gets stronger. Attack of 1,000 fists! Gogeta shouts the name of a technique. Suddenly, a gigantic number of hands made of pure energy materialize around him, and they all go towards Cell, who, surprised by this, at first only manages to shrink like a turtle in a shell, thus receiving in all directions Gogeta's multiple energy fist attack. Tired of receiving those blows, Cell releases his power in the form of an explosion of black and blue energy, wiping out of existence all the energy fists that had been created by Gogeta. But when Cell destroys the fists that surround him, he can see a fist of planetary proportions coming towards him, carrying a power superior to 1,000 others. Cell is hit squarely by this punch that is strong enough to generate an impact so monstrous that it destroys the entire dimension they are in at that moment. After receiving this punch head-on, Cell's body is crumbled like a cockroach after taking a good blow. The grotesque sight of Cell completely crumbled doesn't last long as he makes his body recover. Gogeta comes to him and asks if Cell is ready for more. The android's response does not come with words, but with a new release of power, this time with his aura of blue and black energy disappearing to give way to the energy of Ultra Instinct. Cell intends to take this fight to another level now. Gogeta notices that this Ultra Instinct that Cell has seems to be different from his or Vegito's. Cell's Ultra Instinct seems more pure. I already understand, as you have Campari's genes. An angel, you can access the purest form of instinct, Gogeta deduces. Forming a proud smile on his face, Cell confirms his deduction. But speaking of Campari, you still don't realize what happened to him, do you? Gogeta interrupts the subject to ask. With his ability to sense ki raised to higher levels by Shinken, Gogeta was able to feel everything that happened in the fight between Campari and Vegito. Cell, on the other hand, had not yet developed his ability to sense ki to this point. Your lord and creator is dead. Vegito destroyed him once and for all, Gogeta informs the android. Cell remains thoughtful for a few seconds and then says, well, I was programmed to hold my creator in high esteem, so I'm not happy about that, and I wish I could have helped him. On the other hand, I don't feel sad either. To Gogeta's surprise, Cell stops releasing energy, returns to his base form. Gogeta asks what happened and says that this fight is far from over. Cell responds by saying that it would be a lot of fun to take this fight to the end, but it will be much better if they can face each other another time. He justifies it by explaining the following. You see, Gogeta, as much as I am a great genius, the truth is that I was born just a few minutes ago, so I'm not used to my powers yet. It would be much better if I had time to discover more about myself and develop myself, so we could have a perfect fight. Don't you think? Faced with these arguments from Cell, Gogeta is forced to agree. You're right, the fight would be much more exciting if you developed your skills more. The truth is that despite using my Shinken form, I'm still a long way from using my maximum power, and obviously the fight would be much better and more challenging if I had the need to raise my power to the limit. Cell laughs at Gogeta and says it looks like they speak the same language. The language of Saiyan warriors. Apparently you understand me, so let me go. And I promise that when we fight again, I will give you the most perfect fight of your life, Cell promises. Gogeta is a little thoughtful, wondering if he should let this happen or not, until in the end he lets his passion for fighting speak louder and fulfills Cell's request, allowing him to go. Cell thanks him and says he won't regret it. Besides Gogeta, it may be that our goals coincide, and at some point we may find ourselves as allies, not enemies, Cell says, leaving a mystery in the air. And then he disappears with a teleport. Allies, huh? Gogeta reflects, intrigued on those words. After the battle, Gogeta returns to Campari's private dimension, which at this point is on the verge of total collapse. Vegito asks him what happened to Cell, and Gogeta just says that he ran away and that he couldn't stop it. Vegito is a little suspicious of this answer, since he knows about Gogeta's transcendental capabilities, but he doesn't insist on questioning. Gogeta then goes to the dimension where he sent Gohan and Android 21 to bring them back. After that, he takes them back to the great universe, more specifically to the world of the god. Using forced spirit fission, Gogeta separates Android 21 from Bulma and Bola, easily undoing the absorption. When he does this, everyone is very surprised, since Gogeta has faced other fusions since arriving in this reality, such as Vegito himself. But he didn't use this ability. Gogeta explains everything, saying that in the case of Fricolo, the fusion of Frieza and Piccolo from another dimension, he didn't use forced spirit fission, simply because he didn't want to, as it wouldn't be any fun fighting them without the power of this fusion. But in Vegito's case, Gogeta says that for some reason, he's not able to undo the fusion. He theorizes that perhaps his ability doesn't work on beings from Vegito's dimension. In short, due to some curious circumstance involving the weird laws of parallel reality, I can't seem to undo fusions from your reality, Vegito. On the other hand, I can undo fusions of beings from another reality if I wish, like this android, and also Fricolo. Of course, this messes with Vegito's head, and he doesn't even try to understand much, so as not to become more confused. The important thing for him is that Bulma and Bulla are now fine. They wonder what to do with Android 21. Chamra says he will keep her trapped in his castle to try to get some information about the other angel. Nobody objects. Vegito remembers that Gogeta was able to track Bulla to Campari's private dimension because he felt her power so intensely, and then asks if he isn't able to track Vados, Whis, and Cell since he also felt their power with intensity. Gogeta says no, and explains that Cell and the angels hide their energy traces much better than Bulla, so finding them won't be that easy. Vegito is not discouraged and guarantees that at some point, these angels will falter, and that will be the time when they will all be destroyed. Gogeta agrees with him, but says that for now they can just relax a little. Because of the good progress in controlling his powers that Gohan demonstrated in the fight against Super Android 16 and Campari, Vegito decided that his son is ready to return to his work as a galactic patroller, as long as they continue training sometimes, since Gohan clearly still has a lot to improve. With Gohan's return to work, Bola was able to come back to her duties with Bulma in the patrol's technology wing, although she developed a certain taste for battles and agreed to carry out some missions in the field from time to time. After having her combat robot massacred by Super Android 17, Bulma is determined to make even better battle machines and accessories. She also had to work together with Bola to repair the Galactic Patrol base that was badly damaged by Super 17, and assured Commander Jaco that she would make better battle equipment for him. Vegito and Gogeta also resume normal activities, returning to deal with the occurrences that appear throughout the universe. After multiple battles, the evil angel Campari is finally defeated, and so are his killing machine, but his most powerful android still remains, Cell Ultra, who has a mysterious goal. What are Cell Ultra's secret goals, and what other problems await Gogeta and Vegito? Find out in the next episodes of Dragon Ball Shinken.